Yo fellow trainers, and welcome back to Dank Pokemon Profiles. So today I have for you a report for a 2010 webcam tournament I recently played in. So this event was hosted on the old format Pokemon TCG server owned by James G. And it was the 2010 webcam 23 tournament. So I decided to bring Dialgachomp to this tournament. I just played the list from Snowpoint Cast, to be honest. I didn't change anything about the deck list. So yeah, Dialgachomp is just focused around Dialga level X. You can make that thing really huge with your metal energies. You also have expert belts to give it 20 more HP. And then you also have stuff like the Snowpoint Temple. So you have a huge Dialga, which takes less damage. Then you have healing cards with Burfer's Warmth. Or you also have your Garchomp C with Healing Breath. And then you just hit your opponent the entire time with Remove Lost, hopefully, and tank all the damage and just win the game that way. But there are a bunch of really intricate interactions, which I cannot mention all. Overall, in the tournament, there are 17 players. And sadly, 4 of the SP players actually played a fire attack. That was not the greatest, but yeah. Let's get into the games and see how I performed. Okay, so in game number 1, I was actually playing the mirror match. The difference was that my opponent was not an unknown G and ran a 1-1 mute reaction instead. You can see my opponent went first and hit me with the DCE, which was kind of annoying, and here I made a risky play, used the Poketurn to grab back my damaged Garchomp and just used Close Swipe for the knockout. Which is a bit dangerous because my opponent finds Garchomp, he can punish us that play, but he doesn't, or if I wouldn't have hit the Poketurn, so yeah. Anyways, we see that my opponent grabs Dialga G right here and therefore cannot use Poison Revenge, but he mostly did this because I could Revenge kill him. And then if he doesn't have a basic, he would just die. Okay, we see I am able to find my Unknown G, which is really important in this matchup because you want to have Unknown G attached to your Dialga, so you're protecting your energies from Remove Lost. Yeah, okay, here I'm grabbing my Dialga, attach Unknown G before my opponent has 3 basics and can prevent that with the Power Spare or something like that, and I just keep on swinging with my Garchomp right here. In general, it's super dangerous doing the stuff I did here with the expert build, but I decided, let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. Right, here I play another Cyrus and I'm just going in again with Earthquake. And if my opponent doesn't find another basic, I can potentially Dragon Rush KO his currently active Dialga G and then just win the game. Well, my opponent finds here more basics though, so that is not an option anymore. And with Remove Lost, he gets rid of my DC. So yeah, this won't be an option. Unless I play another double colorless energy, to be fair, but yeah. On the other hand, I've taken lots of damage, so kind of decide to just play Poketurn instead and give my opponent my Uxie and start setting up my own Dialga. Yeah, then I will pass the turn over to my opponent. My opponent's Dialga is more or less set up. The thing where I'm not super sure was my opponent playing down the Snowpoint Temple, because the Snowpoint Temple kind of helps me more. It's an advantage position, but well, do what you do. Okay, here then I find with BB Search the Dialga level X and I have Unknown G attached, and I can start swinging into my opponent this time with Second Strike. My opponent has a Collector, finds a couple of basic Pokemon. But yeah, he will have to see how he gets through this. Because, as I said, he is not running Unknown G, so there's always the danger of me just getting rid of his energy cards with Remove Lost. So okay, my opponent hits me. He was attempting to throw the dice, but I told him, yeah, Unknown G is attached, so no energies will be removed. And here I have Burfer's Warmth, which is kind of nice because then I don't need to use my Healing Breath, as I still have enough HP to take another hit, and yeah, that's kind of cool. Just using a supporter instead. So I got rid of the Special Metal Energy with Remove Lost, which does help because now I'm dealing more damage, and also getting rid of the energies means that my opponent will have problems getting Remove Lost live again, as it requires 2 metal energies and you are just playing usually about 6 of them. Okay, my opponent just hit me again, and I play a second burr first, which I got back with the Seeker, and then I am able to get rid of another energy. But here I get rid of the basic metal energy because my opponent has Iron's Collection and in theory can recycle the basic energies but not the DC, and it's a knockout either way. Okay, then we see my opponent promotes his second Dialga and will start swinging again into me, which is more or less fine with me. I take 60 damage. And then here I need to heal myself and go for double Garchomp X. My opponent has Power Spray for the first one, but not for the second one, which is really big. Can't lie. And yeah, now I feel pretty safe, to be honest. Just use Remove Lost again. And I'm getting rid of the DC. I was thinking getting rid of the special metal energy, but I decided that now I want to make it hard for my opponent to attack on the next turn. I do not have that many healing cards left, so yeah, I go for a bit more greedy, for the quote-unquote more conservative option of just getting rid of metal energies right here. Okay, my opponent I think is missing the attack on his turn, and therefore he decides to just leave Garchomp in the active position, as I cannot really one-shot it with my own Dialga, and yeah. Okay, no, he decides to instead attack with Dialga again. And here I play Interviewer's Question for double special metal energy, which is really powerful, because under Devon I cannot do that much else. But I hit double heads, which is like extremely devastating to my opponent. Getting rid of all of the special metal energies right here. And yeah, now my damage isn't reduced anymore, and I just attack to my opponent again with a Remove Lost, and my opponent has 10 HP remaining. I think I could have grabbed Crow, but I decided against it because I was somewhat afraid of Power Spray. Okay, on the next turn, now I do grab Crowbit with BBs, and it goes through. And yeah, at this point the game was pretty much over. Like, what I'm mostly now doing is just trying to give energies to my Garchomp so I can snipe something or kill something in the active position, then with like Expert Belt. To be honest, it's the only thing which could go wrong is if randomly Hand Disruption like kills me, but it's kind of unlikely. And here we see my opponent use Toxic Fang with Crobat, because he wasn't aware that Energy prevents that, so yeah. You can see like my opponent wasn't too experienced with the matchup, so a couple of mistakes happened, which in the end like really hurt the game right here. Okay, yeah, opponent just promotes Uxie, and then I have the last poke turn, then let's game. Okay, so for my second match I was playing against Arceus, and I will be honest, I have no idea how this deck actually works, so I didn't really go into a plan with this matchup. The general idea of Arceus is that you have the normal Arceus, which has the attack Ripple Swell, which attaches energy to all of your Arceus if you have 5 on your bench, so in total 6 in play. Then you have the level X, which lets you use the attack of all your other Arceus, and because you have all the different types you can hit your opponent for weakness. Use a bunch of coverage moves. We can see my opponent has not been able to get a turn 1 Ripple Swell, also not turn 2, and I've gotten off my Dialga, so I feel kind of confident. There we can see my opponent is playing the Fire Arceus, and the Fire Arceus can attack for 80, so this can more or less one-shot me, which is a big problem. We see now on turn 3 my opponent does find the Ripple Swell. I attach another energy to my Dialga, and then I can go ahead and use Deafen. Deafen prevents my opponent from playing trainers in stadiums, and playing stadiums is really important because that deck is playing for Ultimate Zone, which lets you move around energies from your Arceus, and I don't want my opponent to find that. Okay. Also, having Dialga level X in play is kind of nice, because with that I get rid of the Pokebody of the level X. But there we see my opponent attacks with the Psychic one, which confuses the active Pokemon. That's a big problem right here. Yeah, because I do not find my warp energy or my warp point. So in this case I just flip it. It's actually heads, so I do not get punished by the confusion. It's kind of solid. But yeah, okay, then we see my opponent promotes the metal one. The metal one has the attack metal barrier, which makes it that it doesn't take any damage on the next turn from Pokemon EX or even effects from attacks. And therefore I decide to just play my Poketurn, put back my Dialga. But now I don't have Dialga X anymore in play, and therefore my opponent can use again the Pokebody of his Arceus level X. Obviously he just hit into my Uxie. I just let my Uxie die. But I think maybe I can try going instead with my Bronzong as a tank. Also Bronzong has fire resistance, so I think that helps combating the fire Arceus. But my opponent also has the Psychic Arceus in play, so it's kind of problematic. We see my opponent retreats right here, promotes the Psychic one, and yeah, he has the level X, so he can use any attack, and he just kills my Bronzong right here, which is kind of bad. He used the attack of the fire Arceus, so he flips tails, and therefore he needs to discard 2 energy cards. But I will be honest, after using Pokemon right here with Expert Belt, I basically gave up on this game, because they are like, my opponent has everything in play, I have nothing, I cannot counter the stadium because I'm just running 1 Snowpoint Temple. So yeah, I think I'm trying to build again Dialga, but even if I am able to get a second Dialga down, there are still all the fire types. I've not been able to get rid of the fire energies, which is like the other option to get through this. Right here I make a decision to put back my Dialga and just try to get rid of the energies by sniping around with the Garchomp, but the one fire energy is on the grass and the other on the active. I wanted to snipe the one on the bench, but that one has 90 HP, so I cannot kill it, and I didn't find Crobat. So yeah, here we see my opponent plays a Judge, so this makes it even harder to come back. My opponent just needs 2 more prizes. And yeah, I'm weak to colorless, so this is an easy KO. Right here I'm playing a Collector, but I cannot really prevent my opponent from just promoting the Fire Arceus and then attacking again with Bright Flame and KOing my Dialga, and then that's game. Okay, so for my third game I was actually playing against Cursegar. As you will see, this game is not speed up, and you will see pretty quickly why I decided to not do that, because this game was over kind of quickly. Usually this is a really close matchup, there are a bunch of interesting interactions, because Fainting Spell is really dangerous, and with Gengar level X you can put back my Dialga level X, but I can prevent that with Power Spray, and because of Dialga level X Pokebody, I get rid of Spiritom's Pokebody, so I can actually use my Power Sprays and am not annoyed by the Spiritums. Okay, see, we set up, no mulligan draws are drawn, and after the coin toss we will actually see that Cursegar is going first, which is solid. My opponent has no other basic throw besides Spiritomb. I have a Garchomp start, which is bad because Spiritomb has resistance, so I cannot really deal much of damage. I still attach the DC, and I also have nothing that is hit in for 10. And now like stuff like Rosen's Research is extremely powerful, but my opponent has nothing passes, and even through the trainer lock I have another energy card. I also have the Garchomp level X, and I just rush KO the Spiritomb right here, and then that's game over. Okay, so for my fourth game I was actually playing against Regigigas. Just think a close matchup. There are a couple of annoying things. My opponent is playing the Relicanth, which has Grand Swell to snipe the bench. And you also are like just a really big deck. And yeah, Regigigas has Drag Off, with which you can promote stuff from the bench. So there's a tons of disruption. So I need to be careful how I want to play my Garchomp, as Drag Off with Expert Build exactly kills basic Garchomp. Okay, we can see I'm setting up, and I am starting with first turn Deafen, but my opponent also has a solid start then with a Collector and using a Let Loose to disrupt me further. But I do find again a Cyrus, so I am back in the game. I'm not bricked, which is solid. So yeah, we'll have to see. You don't want to attach really the energy gain to the Dialga, but I'm just doing it during the first couple of turns, just so I'm able to go for an early death and slow down my opponent, so I have more time to set up an actual big Dialga with special metal energies. Okay, you can see my opponent is setting up a bit more. I don't have 3 SPs, so no power spray for me. And we see my opponent starts promoting here the Regigigas. So you're able now to hit into the Dialga. But it's just 30 with Dragoff, because I have no special metal energies attached yet. So I haven't found any. Here, with the Collector, I do grab my Garchomp and the Unknown G, which, as I said, is important, so I can protect myself from Dragoff. And here I just use Uxie again to drawing more cards and to find something useful. Here I attach the Unknown G. As I said, I need to be careful because of the Relicanth with Grand Spell, so I try to keep just 2 tools in play. Okay, here I played on the Toxicroak, so now I have 3 SPs, which is useful, and I can also revenge KO stuff. Here I used the poke turn on my own Dialga, just to prevent my Dialga from getting killed, by the way. And just promoting the Uxie because I'm fine with giving away a couple of prizes. It's like not too bad. And my opponent just needed to find a Crobat on the previous turn, like to kill me right here. And well, with the Rosalind's research, that wouldn't have been hard. Okay, we can see my opponent used the Rosalind's research to find fighting energies. So you can use the Giga Blaster as soon as you attach water energy. And my opponent just takes the knockout on Uxie. And also played down the Azelf, which has the body to require me to pay 1 more for my attacks. Which usually isn't a problem because of Dialga level X's Pokebody, but I don't have Dialga level X in play. So I do need to attach another energy right here to Toxicroak to attack the Regigigas. Okay, we can see my opponent here finds the healers to heal the Regigigas, which was annoying because otherwise, like, because of being poisoned, you cannot use the power of Regigigas level X, but yeah, that just happens. Okay, we see I also need to discard something from hand, and I discard the DC, which is annoying. And I discard an expert belt, which I need for my Dialga, but as soon as I find one, I'm more or less fine. Here I search Interviewer's Question with my Cyrus Conspiracy, because I really want to find the special metal energies, as I need those to tank. And then I just pass over my turn, and I'm completely fine with using an Uxie right here. Okay. Another energy is attached to the Regigigas, so it's really big right now. So healing it again, and using poison, the Psychic Bite off of the Mesprit. Okay, my opponent is thinking if he wants to kill my Uxie or if he wants to use Dragoff on my Dialga, and he decides to use Dragoff. Here I play the Interviewer's Question, and I'm really lucky and I find double special metal energy, which is really big. I also have now here an Expert Belt, and I start swinging into my opponent with Deafen. Deafen also prevents a couple of healing cards like Super Scoop Ups, which are in my opponent's deck. Okay, we see my opponent attacks into me again with the Giga Blast and discards the DC and Metal Energy. And right here I just need to go for the perfect combo to keep myself healthy, so using the Healing Breath of Garchomp. And I do have a Poketurn to put everything back and reset everything. And as I did not attach another energy, I used the Warp Energy, I can just swing with Deafen again. Here I use Power Spray on the Sacrifice, most likely just so I don't want my opponent to use something like Psychic Bind again. And, well, then my opponent starts swinging with Relicanth onto my Garchomp, so preventing me the option of using Healing Breath again and again, which is fair. Here I attach another special metal energy, so the Dialga is now really big, and I just take the knockout on the Relicanth with Second Strike. My opponent decides to just promote the Uxie, and we can see that my opponent has the option to just grab back again the Relicanth, and therefore my opponent can kill the Garchomp, so that was a solid play. But I still have the Dialga active, so I can just swing again. Here I decide to play down the Crobat. I did this because I need to attach another energy, and with Warp Energy I have to switch, so now I have a way of really retreating. And then I just take the KO with Remove Lost. My opponent promoted right here the Uxie, using VS Seeker for BB's Search. Not sure if you're really looking for something. I guess you can grab the Oxy level X, which helps you with consistency, but it won't deal basically any damage. That's not a good attacker into the Dialga, obviously. And yeah, most likely thing for healing cards or so. Okay, using again Sacrifice. And then just swinging again into my Dialga right here. Okay, and I discard my Oxy level X and need to discard something from my hand again. It was a Poketurn. So solid hits so far. Now I played on the Snowpoint Temple. I can also do this all because my Garchomp is knocked out, so it's just 60 with the Relicanth, and also I killed the Relicanth twice, so it shouldn't come back. And then I use Remove Lost. Okay, my opponent is Uxie and really needs to think what you want to do now, if you want to use the Sacrifice or not. One plays down the Super Scoop up and grabs back the Katina. Let loose. And I do have a Power Spray right here, and I need to think if I wanted to use it on the Sacrifice or not. But at the end of the day, I decided to not use it on the Sacrifice. So in sec we will see my opponent, I think, getting rid of the Split right. Playing down Regigigas, and then attempting to use the Let Loose, but I do Power Spray it because I have good cards in my hand. Okay. Also one thing to note, my opponent didn't see a single judge in this game, so those would have really hurt me right here. Okay, use Blathos, heal myself again, and then just swing into the Regigigas. Okay, my opponent heals with the Regigigas again, and uses the Giga Blaster, getting rid of a couple of annoying cards which I've needed, but it's fine. Checking the discard pile. And yeah, I need to find another way to heal my Dialga. I do have VS Seeker for Burfers, and then I can just use Remove Lost. I'm hoping most likely just hitting like multiple energies so I can prevent my opponent from using Giga Blaster, but yeah, I wasn't able. I had enough hits to do that in this game. You see a Super Scoop Up, which is Tails, so that's problematic. Now my opponent decides to use Drag Off on my wrong to stall, but yeah, I have the Warp Energy, and then that's game. Okay, so for my 5th game, I was actually playing against Jumpluff, which is usually a bad matchup because the deck just pressures you a bit too quickly. I'm starting off with Unknown G, which is a terrible start. My opponent is going first, so there's a possibility that I could get donked. Okay, no, sorry, I was going first, my opponent is going second, so it's possible, but my opponent doesn't, luckily. Just attacks with the Hobbit, and now I have a Collector, so I can kind of set up. Need to be careful with my bench, because obviously if I put down too many Pokemon, the Nest attack can deal way too much damage. But yeah, most likely I will just have to give up that Unknown G and then try to come back with a big Dialga eventually. We see though that my opponent does have a solid start here, finding the Jumpluff plus Expert Belt on turn 2 and taking an early knockout. That's annoying. Here I play down my Cyrus Conspiracy, so I just need to find eventually a big Dialga and tank a bit of a couple of things, but having already a Jumpluff Expert Belt this early in play it's tough. So I will have to see if I can combat that with my healing cards. So my opponent has not the option to one-shot me, so my opponent just uses Leaf Guard. That's fair enough. I will have to see. Okay, find 2 energies with Interview's question. So now I need to consider if I want to power up still my active Dialga, if I want to go for the bench one, but I decide to use the combo to just heal my Dialga and then just use the second strike for a bit of damage. So the damage obviously gets reduced because of Leaf Guard, so it's not doing too much, but yeah. I just have to get there, because if I just use Death Knight, it's dealing 0 damage and I don't want that. Okay. See, my opponent is discussing a couple of things, and yeah, my opponent just sees that as soon as he finds another basic, he can one-shot me right here, which is a problem. So yeah, the expert build is really good against Dialgachomp right here, which is annoying. Just drawing a couple of more cards, setting more up. There are already 2 Jumpluffs in play and starting to build up the 3rd one. Yeah. That was, I will be honest, I didn't calculate this correctly, but I forgot about the expert build. Okay, so now I'm on task setting up my 2nd Dialga, and hope that I can do something with that. But the big problem in this game was that I priced double Dialga level X, and these missing 20 HP are kind of big. Okay, here my opponent has a war point, which is annoying because now I have to promote something which I don't really want to lose, and the thing I can give up the best is the Bronzong, but it still really hurts. So my opponent takes the knockout here, I promote Roxy, which is another thing I just want to give away in order of trying to tank up my Dialga. I use Interviews question opening for the special metal energies, but I just find a DC, and then I pass turn over. And my opponent doesn't even have too many things. They are all ready to Jumpluff with expert build to play. So yeah, just taking right here the KO. Here I play Pond and just hope to rip something insane. And I think I do find... Okay, I play first Synoxy, draw more cards. And then I do find an expert build to maybe tank a bit more damage. And yeah, I take my first prize right here, but the Crobat and the Poketurn seal the deal that my opponent can take the knockout right here. And then that's GG, and with that I'm out of the tournament. Okay, so yeah, overall I went 3-2, which I think is a solid performance. Overall, I don't know about this list. There are a bunch of things which are like really unusual, as it is with no point cast list, like the 3 DCE are kind of weird. The one of Snowpine Temple, also like you want to have 2 of those. There are a bunch of these other things. I think the thing which really hurts is the missing unknown Q. Like, the deck kind of works without it, but I think if I would play this deck again, I would cut one of the Professor Oak's New Theory and play an unknown Q. Wait, let me look it up. Unknown Q. Here, this one with Quick, which gives you a retreat cost of -1. It just makes your Uxie level X way better, because without it, your Uxie feels weird. Like, you basically need to hard draw your war point, or you lose an energy card. And I don't know, but for some reason I basically never draw my war points that early for going for Uxie level X, and therefore, like, Uxie level X came up very rarely for me in the tournament, which I kind of disliked, to be honest. Besides that, the amount of fire attacks which were played in the tournament was annoying. So I think, like, if I would have known the metagame in beforehand, I would have not brought Dialgachomp. I most likely would have played something like Gyarados. I think that would have been a better meta call. But yeah, I also don't think it was necessarily wrong. Like, there just weren't that many SP decks without fire attacks or like Gardevoir decks, which you can kind of like have a good matchup into, so that made it awkward. Still, like, with the not super great matchups, but I think the performance was solid. And like, yeah, if you have any suggestions for this deck list or like some plays which I made, I would be happy to hear about it. Okay, so then yeah, thanks for watching the video and see you around. Bye bye!